This story revolves around a man who, after a lifetime of fighting, finally qualifies for international matches. However, in his last fight, he severely injures his opponent.
They took him to the hospital. How is he doing?
He's dead.
This deeply shocks and saddens him. Seeking closure, he travels to the hometown of the deceased fighter, where he learns the tragic truth. The fighter had borrowed a significant amount of money from a local gangster to reach this match. Failing to repay the debt, the gangster enslaved his wife, and freeing her had become the fighter's sole purpose in life. What happens next? Let's dive into the detailed explanation of the film. The film begins by introducing Yuri Boyka, Europe's best fighter, who is seen fighting in an underground arena in Ukraine. The match appears completely one-sided, with Boyka easily knocking out his opponent after a few attacks. Known as Boyka the Undisputed, he has never lost a fight. The scene shifts to a maximum security prison in Russia, where a terrifyingly beast-like fighter, Koshmar, is brought to the prison's fight arena. His hands and feet are chained, and a mask covers his mouth to prevent him from harming others. The prison security officers arrange fights for their entertainment, broadcasting them online to earn money through betting. Koshmar enters the ring, displaying ruthless aggression by lifting his opponent and smashing him to the ground, breaking his neck. He then beats him so savagely that his face is unrecognizable. It's revealed that none of Koshmar's opponents have ever survived his fights. Meanwhile, outside the ring, Boyka is portrayed as a good-hearted man trying to lead an honest life. However, he remains haunted by his criminal past and the years he spent in a Russian prison, where he was one of the most wanted criminals. One day, while attending church, a priest advises Boyka to quit fighting and pursue a different path to earn a living, as the priest foresees a bleak future for him. Boyka responds that his fighting skills are a gift from God, and he cannot abandon them, leaving the church with this conviction. For years, Boyka had been fighting in the Eagle Arena and now dreams of competing professionally in MMA, mixed martial arts, arenas. One day, his manager informs him that he can fight in legal MMA matches, but must first win a qualifying round. This upcoming fight is crucial for Boyka's future, so he is determined not to lose at any cost. The fight begins, and Boyka's defensive and attacking skills impress the judges. Within moments, he lands a knee strike on his opponent, Victor, leaving him dazed and knocked out. However, Victor refuses to give up and rises to face Boyka again. This time, Boyka delivers a powerful punch that knocks Victor out once more. When Victor stands up for a third time, an enraged Boyka defeats him brutally, leaving him completely unconscious. After the match, the organizers approach Boyka, inviting him to a tournament in Budapest. They hand him a hefty sum of money for training, warning him that the upcoming matches will be much tougher. As Boyka heads home, he catches a glimpse of Victor, whose condition is extremely dire. This reminds him of the priest's warning about his grim future in fighting. Boyka regrets having gone so far in the fight. If only Victor had surrendered after the first knockout. The next day, Boyka visits his manager to ask about Victor, only to learn that he passed away the previous night. However, due to the pre-match agreement, no legal claims can be made for his death. Despite this, Boyka feels deeply remorseful. The manager hands him Victor's belongings, which include a photograph of Victor with his wife and a letter addressed to her. Boyka decides to meet Victor's wife to apologize and offer financial help to ease her struggles. However, his manager strongly opposes the idea, reminding Boyka that he is still a wanted criminal in Russia. If the authorities find out, he'll be thrown back in prison. Undeterred, Boyka decides to use a fake passport and secretly travel to Russia. Meanwhile, we are introduced to Victor's widow, Alma, who is arranging his funeral. With Victor gone, she is left all alone in the world. At the same time, the story shifts to Zurab, a crime lord from whom Victor had borrowed a significant amount of money. Zurab now demands repayment and pressures Alma to marry him, but she refuses, vowing to work hard and return his money instead. When Boyka arrives in Russia, he notices Alma being forced into a car by some men. After investigating, he learns that she is working as a waitress in Zurab's illegal fight club, where she is treated like a slave. Determined to help, Boyka visits the fight club and tries to speak to Zurab. However, Zurab's men stop him and throw him out of the club. Boyka, unwilling to fight, simply asks when he can speak with Alma, but Zurab sees Alma as his property and refuses to let Boyka meet her. To teach Boyka a lesson, Zurab orders his guards to attack him, but Boyka easily overpowers them. Impressed by Boyka's skills, Zurab offers him a job as a security guard in the club. Boyka refuses, saying he only wants to talk to Alma, but Zurab does not allow it. The next day, Boyka sneaks into Alma's home and hands her the letter from her late husband. Alma asks if Boyka knows the man responsible for Victor's death. Reluctantly, Boyka admits that the last fight was with him and that Victor's death was an accident. He never intended to kill him. Enraged, Alma orders Boyka to leave immediately. Determined to free Alma from Zurab's control, Boyka returns to the fight club the following day and agrees to participate in fights there. He strikes a deal with Zurab. If Boyka wins 3 fights in the club, Zurab will forgive all of Alma's debts and set her free. On the way to his next match, Boyka runs into Alma, who angrily tells him she doesn't need anyone's charity. Boyka calmly responds that he is doing this for his own peace of mind. The next day, Boyka begins training at a local gym to prepare for the fights. During practice, he is interrupted by a bully, but Boyka knocks him out with a single kick. Finally, the day of his first fight arrives. Boyka faces a local fighter who cannot hold his own against Boyka's strength and skill. As Boyka is about to deliver the finishing blow, the opponent surrenders and Boyka spares him. After the fight, Alma offers him a drink and tells him about her late husband Victor's training center, suggesting Boyka use it for his practice since it is better suited to his needs. Gradually, Alma grows accustomed to Boyka's presence. The next match proves to be a shocking challenge. It's a 2-versus-1 fight against 2 brothers. Zurab smugly informs Boyka that his club operates by his own rules. The fight begins, and Boyka struggles as he is constantly attacked by one brother while trying to counter the other. At one point, a double kick to his back exacerbates an old spinal injury, leaving him in excruciating pain. Just when it seems he might lose, Boyka spots Alma in the audience, which reignites his determination. Summoning his full strength, he launches a relentless attack, knocking out both brothers. The audience erupts into applause, having not expected him to win. The next day, Zurab visits Alma at her home and tries to force himself on her. When she resists, he accuses her of having a relationship with Boyka. He also insinuates that Victor's death was not an accident and that Boyka deliberately killed him during the fight. Although Alma does not believe Zurab, his words leave her troubled. Later, she confronts Boyka, who explains the truth about the match with Victor. He admits that his life was filled with hardship and that winning that fight was crucial to him. He never intended to kill Victor, and his death was a tragic accident. Boyka insists that everything he is doing now is to atone for his guilt. The day of the final fight arrives, and Boyka faces Zurab's top fighter, Igor, who has been threatening him since the beginning. The fight is grueling, with Igor targeting Boyka's injured back. Boyka is pushed to his limits, but a sudden double flying kick shifts the momentum. He overwhelms Igor with a series of strikes, eventually knocking him out. Alma is elated, knowing that her debt is finally cleared. However, Zurab refuses to honor the deal and demands one last fight. Infuriated, Boyka agrees but requests his manager to postpone the match in Budapest, knowing this will be his most important battle yet. Zurab, determined to defeat Boyka, brings in Koshmer, a deadly fighter infamous for his killing nature in matches. The fight begins, and an already exhausted Boyka struggles against Koshmer, who mercilessly slams him to the ground multiple times. It seems Boyka is on the verge of losing, but he suddenly retaliates with a powerful double kick, breaking Koshmer's arm and knocking him out of the ring. Despite winning, Zurab refuses to let Alma leave. He orders his men to attack Boyka, leaving him severely injured. Meanwhile, Zurab attempts to escape with Alma. In a dramatic turn, Boyka, fueled by sheer determination, rises again. He takes down Zurab's men and confronts him outside. During their final confrontation, Zurab shoots Boyka in the leg, but Boyka overpowers him and strangles him to death. Alma tries to help Boyka escape, but he refuses, asking only for her forgiveness. The police arrive and arrest Boyka, who continues to ask Alma if she has forgiven him. She doesn't respond. Months later, Alma visits Boyka in prison and tells him she has forgiven him. Those words bring Boyka the peace he desperately sought, even as he remains behind bars. The film ends with Boyka fighting in the prison arena, undefeated and still holding the title of Undisputed.